Hello. Go ahead.
Okay, I think your question was the general challenges facing the investment process in Iraq today. Well, the first one is poor internet. But if we, I see the major challenge facing us today is the lack of tools. We have the demand side because we have a market that's in need of everything. We do have the supply because we have investors that are ready and willing. We have domestic liquidity that's also ready. I don't know if it's willing, but what we don't have is this machine that will connect the demand and the supply. And this is the machine that produces the tools. So investment needs capital, and the capital comes in the form of equity and debt, and everything else is a derivative of that. So what we don't have today is really a financial market that offers these tools. For example, we don't have a stock market. And if we have a stock market, it doesn't have the right infrastructure, nor do we have the culture. We don't have a debt market. We don't have a credit market. The banking sector, as everyone knows, is quite thin in Iraq. We don't have investment funds. Even the contractual framework, it's there, but it's not really applied, say, in DOT projects and PPP projects and all these contractual frameworks. So what we don't have is the link between the demand and the supply. And Chris earlier mentioned the capital. So bring in the capital requires a lot of procedures which we're working on, but are not there just yet. So I think in this new government, that's what we're trying to work on, is creating those tools. And those tools, of course, will require, like, for example, people will require guarantees, will require liquidity, will require insurance. We don't have these tools yet, and I think it's best to be honest and upfront about it. So today, what we're trying to do in this government is to create those tools that will encourage the capital. And when I say capital, it's domestic capital and foreign capital, because every successful economy and every successful market relied on the local investors. And while we're very, very keen to bring in the foreign investors, because we know they bring in sophistication, compliance, and expertise, and many more. Our backdrop will be the local investors, because we do have the liquidity, and the liquidity has nowhere to go today in Iraq. So I think the lack of tools is a problem, and I touched on the banking sector because that's the machine that produces the tools, or let's say one of the machines. The other problem we have is the approach. Because of the security issues, and because of the lack of tools, and because of the poor credit market, the approach so far has been really a contract. We don't really have investors in the classic sense of investors. Investors really is someone who brings in their money, put it, accept the risk, and then hopefully make a profit. And those who will take the risk will make hopefully a huge profit in Iraq, but we don't have that yet. We get, like, for example, a lot of investors asking for guarantees. I mean, what guarantees can we offer? I mean, go to the World Bank and get their mega to insure your capital. But we cannot offer other guarantees because, one, we can't put a strain on the government. The government is up to the max in terms of debt and sovereign guarantees. So if there are any investors out there, there are no guarantees that we can offer. You can insure it, and we can help with the cost of the insurance. But and there are organizations that offer insurance on the capital. But force majeure and market forces, we cannot guarantee that. And this is frankly a risk that every market faces. Thanks to the World Bank, they do have a solution to the capital. But I think investors who want to look at Iraq need to be a little bit also realistic on what we can offer as a government, and also aware of the risks. So I would, sorry, I mean, I've taken much more than I was given. But so the two main problems we have is the lack of tools and the approach to investments that we need to even educate. And I really don't like to use this word, not educate the local investors, but even the foreign investors that, come in and invest. bring in your capital. We're not going to fund your investments anymore because, well, that's not investments really. And over to you, Dunya.
Thank you very much indeed. This was extremely insightful.